ESPN has access to every former athlete and expert of every sport there is, but for some reason, they hire people that don't know anything about the sport they cover. Next thing you know, they're doing out-of-whack ratings that will do damage to their credibility. And that happened yet again a few days ago as Bill Barnwell said the Las Vegas Raiders had the worst offseason in the NFL. His reasons include the Raiders trading starting offensive linemen Gabe Jackson, Trent Brown, and Rodney Hudson, and drafting offensive tackle Alex Leatherwood to replace Brown. So I guess he'd rather pay Brown to get up to 400 pounds and miss a lot of games, and Jackson and Hudson to play well below their respective salaries. And I guess you shouldn't draft an Outland Trophy winner in round 1. Funny thing is, the Raiders took a lot of the team's trash out and replaced them with good functional parts. In other words, the Raiders made themselves much better this offseason. And what does Barnwell know? In 2020, the Raider defense was darn near as bad as it's ever been with Paul Guenther as defensive coordinator. He has a super intricate, complex defense, but unfortunately, it was so complex, the Raiders had a harder time figuring it out than the opposing team. And that led to bombs over Baghdad on the Raider defense. In 2019, quarterback Patrick Mahomes came in and bombed the Raiders out of their own stadium. It just seemed like once the Chiefs offense got going, there was nothing the Raider defense can do about it. The Chiefs scored 28 points in the second quarter alone. Then in 2020, the Raiders had a chance to sweep the Chiefs, but the Chiefs only took a minute 15 of the final minute 43 to go 75 yards for the game-winning touchdown. So in comes Gus Bradley, the architect of the Legion of Boom. They were the first defense since the '85 Bears to lead the league in yards allowed, points allowed, and takeaways. Bradley would parlay that into a head coaching gig with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars were ranked number 30 in defense when he got there, and by his 4th year with the Jaguars, he had that defense all the way up to number 6 in yards allowed. Unfortunately, they were number 25 in points allowed, but it wasn't the defense's fault. Quarterback Blake Bortles was a turnover machine. When he didn't give opponents short fields, he gave them touchdowns himself. So Bradley was fired there and quickly landed as defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers, where he took the defense from number 29 to number 3 in points in just 1 year. But after that, his defense had too many injuries, and his head coach was fired, so the Raiders were able to upgrade their defensive coordinator. Now we're on to Eric Harris, the worst free safety over the last couple of years. He didn't have the range to stop the deep ball or make the tackle after it. So anytime Raider corners were in man coverage, they were on an island. In his time with the Raiders, Harris had a couple of interceptions jumping short routes, so he looked to do that too often instead of taking care of his deep responsibilities. This one right here is going to cost his team 91 yards and a touchdown. I'm so glad he's gone. And the Raiders drafted Trayvon Merrick to replace him. Merrick has great range and instincts and rarely lets the ball go over his head. Watch the range on this one. This is not a player evaluation, so I'm not showing you what he doesn't do well in this video. It's about what he does well, making him a great replacement for Harris. Harris hardly ever covered the deep part of the field and kept everything in front of him. But Merrick does that very well and has the ball skills to go with it. Yeah, watch the ball skills on this one. It's going to be nice to see the deep ball get covered and the Raiders get some turnovers for a change. Now we're on to Trent Brown, who's a dominant pass blocker when healthy, and a dominant run blocker when healthy. But he ballooned up to 400 pounds this season and wasn't healthy often enough. Then Denzel Good got put out there, and all he did was show that he's a guard. Then Sam Young got his crack, and Carr had Waller open deep on this one too. Then there's Brandon Parker, who's Brandon Parker. He had somebody open on that play too. As you can see, Trent Brown not playing didn't work out well for the Raiders. So they got rid of him and drafted Outland Trophy winner Alex Leatherwood in the first round. And he saw him all in college, as that was Kwity Paye right there. This is Azeez Ojulari here. And here he comes again. Oh, and he's a road grader in the running game too. He's going to take his guy clear across the formation on this one. And here he is at right guard, so you know switching to right tackle's not going to be a problem. The Raiders have a young, hungry one coming to replace Brown. Center Rodney Hudson is still good, but his play is slipping. He doesn't get much push in the running game anymore, and that doesn't fly with Gruden, especially given the money he was making. And while his pass blocking is still good, that isn't even what it was. Guard Gabe Jackson hasn't been a good run blocker for a couple of years now. There he misses on the pull. And here he's going to miss on the second level. And while he's still a good pass blocker, even that slipped for him in 2020. That's too much money going out to an offensive line that was ranked number 17 in pass blocking and 28 in run blocking. So Jackson, Hudson, and Brown had to go. Then they can use that money on Yannick Ngakoue, the edge rusher they so desperately needed. With hands like this, you can see why he's never had less than 8 sacks in a season. He also has 18 career forced fumbles, including 4 last year. Watch the one-arm stab followed by the strip. He's going to show a little bend here. And here comes the jump chop. And you know there's a spin move in there somewhere. His combination of burst and bend alone are enough to get him to the quarterback. But of course he has more than that. So he creates turnovers and sometimes points for his defense. Here comes another defensive touchdown. And another one. I can't wait to see him doing that for the Raiders. The Raiders fired the architect of one of the worst defenses in team history and replaced him with the architect of one of the best defenses in NFL history. They also got rid of the worst safety in the NFL and replaced him with the Jim Thorpe Award winner. They trimmed some fat by getting rid of an out-of-shape 400-pounder that couldn't play most of the time. And they replaced him with an Outland Trophy winner. The other two grossly overpaid offensive linemen were sent packing too. And the Raiders used that money to bring in the best edge rusher in free agency. So you better watch out, because they're coming. Thank you for watching. See you next time.